And we're now broadcasting, and welcome everybody. This is the Magnet STEM Hangout 2016-03-21 Monday. And it's a 15-minute wrap about what's happening with STEM education in Victoria. And I'll get everybody to introduce themselves. We have, starting on the left-hand side, John, David, Karen, and Robert, and myself. So, John.
Well, welcome, and thank you very much, Roland, for conducting our monthly meeting. We did skip one, but we'll forgive you for that, given your activities at the new school. I think you're very brave. So, look, my initial comment is thanks very much, and let's see if we can do this on a monthly basis for 10 minutes before tea. Does that sound okay for everybody?
Yeah, that's good.
Yep.
Good. Okay. David?
So David here from Weber College. What else we introduce? Yeah, that's about it. Teaching math and science, of course.
Well, you don't need to tell that. Just say what you've been doing. We all know.
Well, for his introduction, we all know who I am anyway. Conducting club activities, and especially involving science and technology with the students at lunchtimes.
So it's been extended to hacking. We've actually got a science club and hackerspace running.
Oh, lovely. Yeah. And Karen?
Well, I put it all up on your notes thing. Basically, I've been doing a little bit of mentoring some girls' science. I've got a couple of kids in the building who didn't feel they were getting supported enough at school, so I've got back into that.
Thank you. And Robert?
Just basically pottering around, looking at some linguistic stuff, still looking for something to do a PhD on. But I've been looking for about 10 years, so I could be looking for the next 10 years.
We've got an advisor.
That's
Rob
right. Experience just.
Yeah.
Thank you. And Robert?
The two things I've been working on. One is I'm just in the process of setting up a blog. So rather than the email that we've been using, I thought I might try a blog to put some thoughts out there for people to read. And the other thing is I'm looking at where normal organisations have a business plan to kind of direct their activities for the near future and then beyond. I'm thinking of something like that, but it's a not-for-profit organisation, so I'm more interested in actually the exchange currency of people who are actively interested in doing things as the currency of exchange. So I'm looking at a business plan or an educational plan, if you like, for Magnet. Something so that we can, if someone says, what are you on about, we have a document which has some of those ideas fleshed out. So.
Thank you. I have rushed through the introductions quickly. I might leave with Robert. Is there anything else you'd like to add to Rob?
No, I'm fine there, except that on Friday I graduated.
Yay!
So that's Dr. Robert now, is it?
That's correct.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's really wonderful. Karen, we rushed through the introductions quite quickly. Do you want to fill in the things that you've been up to?
Basically, as I say, I've been doing some mentoring. I do also. I'm working with quite a few Asian kids who struggle with English, but their maths and science, their understanding is there, but they get lost in the language. So I've actually been looking quite deeply into how they've got lost. So I've been looking at that a fair bit, and there's a lot in terms of maths is the nomenclature. So it's about understanding the difference, and I've actually taken that onto LinkedIn, and it's quite funny because I've actually been quite engaged in a LinkedIn discussion about notation and how that can be ambiguous. So a lot of kids do seem to get lost between the words and the understanding. So I've been doing some of that, and I've also been doing a little bit of online research into how a research project I did before I came to Australia, which would have been about 10 years ago, about how kids, or mainly girls, are affected by how they are reacted to in classes. So 10 years ago, or nearly 11 years ago, at the school I was at, they run a trial. So teachers who were teaching maths and science, if they were teaching the lower years, so they basically had a 50-50 class, roughly, so sort of years 7, 8, 9, where there's no choice of science. You were given a bag of marbles of 2 colours. If you asked a general question and put it out, if a boy got to answer, you put 1 marble in another bag of 1 colour, and if you asked a girl, and at the end of the day, you actually looked at your gender mix. And I was quite surprised, I found about 75% of the people I sort of preferred to answer questions was boys, and I was quite surprised at that, because I thought I was pretty even-handed. And it was sort of across the range, and then you start looking, well, actually more boys tend to put, in a mixed class, more boys tend to put their hands up than girls. That was happening 10, 12 years ago. I don't know if it happens in everyone else's class. And it was, the research went on to boys are more likely to be happy with guessing, and girls aren't. So how to get round that? Because then it becomes, well, it's sort of a set thing. So I've been sort of re-evaluating that as if I want to pick it up again to maybe do a PhD, but I'm not sure, because it's been done. I think this thing has been done a lot, but it's still very topical.
Thank you, Karen. I'll give a bit of a wrap as to what I've been up to. I'm just going to screen share this. It's a little bit easier for me. I get the right program. There's an activity I've been doing called the Mini Maker Fair, and the Maker Space is a sort of inventor space where people kind of get together and they make stuff and they do stuff. John, you're familiar with the kind of maker stuff you've been doing as a teacher when people ask you to bring out your various robots and bots and things. What I've been doing with the Maker Space, here we go, I've got the video up. Let's get this going. Oh, okay, now I'll screen share it. This is taken at the Mini Maker Fair, and I'll grab the video, screen share, Maker Fair. Here we go. I'll give a bit of a voiceover.
Ooh.
This is cute. This is my little. That's a little MBot robot, and the MBot robot has got an Arduino controller. It's got ultrasonic sensors at the front. It's got wheels, battery. It's $100. It's a project where they can, for $100, they're going to give every kid in the world a robot. It's got a little infrared sensor controller. It's cute. You can program it in the Arduino language, or you can program it with a Scratch-like interface. I'm going to take you for a quick guided tour for the Mini Maker Fair. Here we go. 30 seconds. So we're programming the robot to run around on this track. I've got some helicopter drones there, jumping spider, and some Edisons, which are little programmable robots. Gary Stager saw that, and he thought, well, maybe the robot could be drawing the road. That's an option. Here we go. And is John Pierce. This is a group called Datavic. They're doing a lot of stuff with the Design Technology Teacher Association. They're really starting to kick in to a higher gear with STEM, which is good to see. Now, Rob might recognise this. This is the Mega Constructions, where we're using a sort of those blue plugs you see them screwing in. A really high-tech version of the old brass wing nut. It would hold cardboard together and make a hinge, and you can make giant robots. And...
Right.
Interesting.
So you can actually make your own simple machines with that. They've got 3D printers and a few other cute things at the Mini Maker Fair. I won't go into the details, but it was a lot of fun, and I learned a lot. And I shared recently with Rob a program called Zenith, where we're trying to engage kids with STEM building, asking questions. I sat down with it, Rob. You give me a lot of homework with your 14 analysis of my 5-page program. That's been really much appreciated. So I'll fill in all the gaps and get back to you about it. But it's been a lot of fun, and looking forward to showing you what we're up to next month.
Good.
John, I'll let you finish and close off.
We're talking?
We're talking.
We're talking.
Our turn.
Our turn.
Okay, want to go first?
Look, the big picture is a bit disturbing, and I did email a group about where the money gets spent, and I'm very pleased to think that we have no money. Well, we did get some money from ASA, but we now have a bank account, so we could put some money into it. And Rob, I know you've had some thoughts about what we could spend that money on. We had no success getting up any posters at the National Science Conference, which is rather interesting. So we have been piggybacking on the other subject associations in the expectation that they would have some sense that user groups do operate out there, but perhaps they don't. Perhaps they don't know that networks do and should exist. So Aaron, I know, I'm sorry he didn't join tonight, but Aaron's actually on the STEM Facebook for Victoria. Who knows about that?
I don't.
Yes, that's was set up by Leonie McGlashan and Gary Bass. That's a good little Facebook community to join. I think also the DataFit group's actually desperate for some STEM stuff, so we might have more luck putting our name for that one. And for them, they don't charge for presenters, so we don't have anything to lose.
No, that's true. Look, so Gary can keep an eye on the Facebook one, because we know we did have some contact with the Maths Association through Rob Money, who came out and saw what Aaron was up to. Then he said, Rob Money, I'm seeing him tomorrow, Rob said, oh, look, I'm very disappointed in what's going on with the Maths Association and STEM. That it has been, after our lovely active discussion over Christmas, and thanks, Karen, for your responses, I've had no further contact with Maria James at all. I know she's been very busy, but she was enthusiastic for a couple of weeks and then nothing.
I sorted some stuff out, and I just ended up, it was on my desktop, I didn't get anything back, so I just dumped it, because it was quite old, but I'm not going to be chasing anyone up to give stuff away.
No, but the idea of the chicken and egg thing that you suggested, she actually used it in her presentation at STAV, the chemistry conference.
Oh, that was good.
Yeah.
But did she acknowledge you?
No, no, she
Probably
didn't.
not.
No, I should have asked her about that when I was there.
Well, because I guess we could go around just talking to one another, and I'm sure that'll keep happening. It's been happening for a couple of years now. But how do we reach out beyond the community? And as Rob says, you know, we could have a business model, but it seems to be very difficult to break into the gatekeepers. I call them gatekeepers because it's surprising that at the National Science Conference, only Gary got one piece up. He had 3 proposals, and they had neither you and I've presented for 4 years now with fully booked sessions.
That's true.
Too, yeah.
Mm.
And mine was an international one. I thought that I'd rope it in. I should have put in a couple of sessions. I guess that's a really good question to leave for the next meeting, John. And that's
Rob's had some thoughts about webinars, but Roland, we'd be putting it back to you. Are we ready to go webinar?
I don't think there's an easy answer. I mean, I'd be interested to hear what Rob's thoughts are. Now he doesn't have the pressure of his PhD writing. He still has the momentum, though, of writing big articles. But I think that the idea of blended subjects like STEM, I see the maths teachers moving forward, and they see computational thinking, and then they back off. And then I see groups like the STAV moving forward, and they see a bit of science and then electronics, and then they back off. And even DataVic, as soon as they lose sight of the design, I think I can see, oh, programming looks complicated. And then same thing with the DLTB. It's difficult for them to look at how to blend in a blended learning area, which encompasses a number of different things.
But the point I'm making is that you see it's happening in classrooms, and the one I'm always celebrating, and he's been doing it for many years, is out of Diamond Creek. Now, it's in the tech part of the school. So when you go and look at the workshops that are running within the subject association, no problem. But it's somehow or other the people who are putting the programs together.
I just wonder if it's got to do with the lack of particular knowledge in those, like, who don't have those particular skills or not very confident in those skills, and not willing to put forward that.
Well, we're not waiting for a STEM tag, are we? Someone who teaches STEM?
Well, there was Day of STEM, and Gary's already had conversations with the Office of the Chief Scientist. And if you look at the current advertising for the election coming up, well, it started, hasn't it?
Yeah.
It's mysteriously STEM's now become STM. The engineering's been evaporated.
That's odd.
But is it a case of a lot of teachers just don't talk to each other and programs just get relabeled?
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, I'm a STEM teacher because I'm doing this, therefore I'm a STEM teacher. Let's apply for funding, rather than actually looking what STEM actually is.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, linking maths up with art when they're doing their lino printing to look at manufacturing processes. So you've got the idea that printing isn't just lino. Yeah, lino printing is the first stage of a big thing for printing things like wallpaper and fabrics. It's a whole process that involves mathematical patterning to working how much ink you need.
Yeah.
And that sounds really, because that has a cost to it. So you can actually present a real life STEM project that actually is based with a bit of maths, but you've got to get so many people on board that it just becomes a joke, because maths don't speak to the art teachers.
Yeah.
That's why I thought it was a new an acronym, and it could be called STEMMA. It stands for Science, Technology, Arts, Music, Maths, Electronics, and Religion.
Or education. Now, I'm conscious that it's 6:30. I do want to hold this to a 15-minute. Rob, you've been very quiet. Do you want to round up?
I like listening to the conversations because it gives me insights, because we all have different perspectives, and I think at this stage, I intend to put out this document, which is, I just in inverted commas call it a business model, because that's what most people are used to, but it's not really a business model. But it will at least give us some concrete directions, which we can all chew over and see whether we agree. But I don't think we've got one focus. I think there's probably 4 or 5 foci which we could work on, and I think that we all have something that we can offer in each one of those different areas. So at this stage, I'd like to thank you for having the Hangout, and I'm glad to be able to hang out with you.
Thank you very much.
First time.
Wonderful. I'll call it as a wrap then. Thank you very much, everybody, for coming along, and I look forward to catching up the next meeting, and I'll schedule it the same way with the Google Doc and with the Hangout invitation, and hopefully Gary will join us as well.
Yeah.
Oh,
Thanks,
Gary said the connection was too slow.
Yeah, too slow. No.
Okay.